Welcome to African Catholic Voices, a podcast service of the Pan-African Catholic Theology and Pastoral Network. My name is Father Stan Chu Ilo. I'm your host today. And today we want to pay a special tribute to Bishop Matthew Hassan Kukah, the Bishop of Sokoto, who is considered by many as the most consequential Catholic bishop in Nigeria today. And with me today to pay this special tribute on this special day, the birthday of Bishop Kukah, his 70th birthday, is one of Bishop Kukah's friends and traveling companion, Father Dr. Barnabas Shabayang of Veritas University, Abuja, Nigeria. Welcome to African Catholic Voices, Father Barnabas.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you for having me on this platform and this forum.
Yeah, you're welcome. So we begin with this special tribute. Tell us, who is Bishop Matthew Hassan Kukah for our audience, both in Nigeria, in Africa, and the rest of the world?
Most Reverend Dr. Bishop Matthew Hassan Kukah was ordained in the Catholic Archdiocese of Abuja, of Kaduna, and he worked in many capacity as parish priest before he went to work with the Catholic Secretariat of Nigeria, where he served as the deputy and eventually the Secretary General of the Catholic Secretariat of Nigeria for 10 years. Then he went back to serve as in the Archdiocese of Kaduna as parish priest in 2007. Until 2011, he was elected and nominated to become the fourth bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Sokoto, where he is serving now. He has been most influential in the administration of justice and in the administration, in the pastoral care of souls in the dioceses of Archdiocese of Kaduna, Lagos, and Abuja. And he has been working relentlessly on issues of human rights, on issues of defending the poor, on the issues of pastoral care, and he is very eloquent in talking truth to power in the past 4 decades. And he has expressed himself so well in terms of writing, in terms of public speech, and he has defended the democracy in Nigeria. And he has preached the gospel of Jesus Christ to the marginalized, to the poor, and to the elites. He is a quintessential scholar and a public orator in public square in Nigeria. He is celebrating his 70th birthday, and we are proud to associate with him.
Thank you very much for that very eloquent and detailed description of the man, Matthew Hassan Kukah. When did you meet him? How did your paths cross?
I met Bishop Kukah when he was a priest and working in the seminary in 1981, when I was in the secondary school in Zaria. He was then the rector of the St. Joseph's Minor Seminary in Zaria. And then I was in Form 3. And I was schooling in Basel Teachers College, and we had a chapel named St. Endan's Catholic Parish, and our principal was an Irish priest, late John Horan. So when he left the school in 1980, they brought in Bishop Kukah then as the rector of the minor seminary, and that is when I met him for the first time, and we continued our journey till today.
Yeah, and you are very close friends with Bishop Kukah, and it's always amazing how he's able to connect with different people, but in your own case, it's been a friendship of over 40 decades going into 50 decades. So who is Bishop Kukah to you as a friend?
Bishop Kukah has been a wonderful mentor. He's been a friend, a father. I am attracted to Bishop Kukah because of his sense of humility, his sense of simplicity, and yet his sense of scholarship, hard work. I'm attracted to him because our philosophy of life seems to have been the same. What is worth doing is worth doing well. Bishop Kukah has been so clear-minded in terms of his philosophy of life: hard work, sincerity, honesty, justice. And he identified the poorest of the poor, and he works with them. He brings himself to the lowest. I've been to his village. I've stayed with him in the village for more than 2 weeks. Every Christmas, I go to spend Christmas with him. We go to the outstations. People come to his village, to his house. He receives them. Bishop Kukah can receive people from Muslims to Christians to traditionalists. And I've been with him, working with him, and I stayed late up to 11 p.m., 12 p.m. He's receiving visitors. He's never tired. I've traveled with him to Enugu, where he gave convocation lecture to the University of Nigeria in 2016. And he spoke so eloquently that the professors there were amazed. I went with him to Achievers University in Owo, where he gave an inaugural lecture. He spoke so well that both the traditionalists, those in academics, students, and those who are Christians and Muslims, they find it so easy to relate with him. And he received them so well. He spoke so much on issues of justice, issues of education, issues of social issues, and everything from all walk of life. He's able to blend with people and receive people warmly. And he's so kind and generous, not only with words, but with material things.
Thank you very much, Father Barnabas. It will be
Yes.
your own turn to pose some questions to me
Yes.
about the man whose life and contributions we are celebrating today on his birthday.
Okay. Yeah, we thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. May I know, very Reverend Father Stan, when did you meet Bishop Kukah and where?
Well, I think I met Bishop Kukah as a seminarian at Seat of Wisdom Seminary. So I was the editor of Wisdom Satellite, the seminary magazine, and we wanted to celebrate a special edition on the role of the church in Nigerian society. That was especially after the terrible killing those from Eastern Nigeria would have heard sometime in 1996, 97. There were so many killings in Owerri. So there was the Sokoto Hotel, a hotel where young kids were being lured into and being killed and used for rituals. So one innocent, when he disappeared, people could no longer contain it. And then they started searching and they went and burned the hotel. So now we wanted to focus on what kind of human beings are we dealing with here. And so it was also the time of great national uncertainty. So the theme of our magazine that particular edition was killing everywhere. And we wanted someone to talk to us and calm our minds. And so I invited Bishop Kukah. So that was the first time. As a seminarian, it's not like now you have like cell phones. So actually, I went to Catholic Secretariat in Lagos looking for him. And he welcomed me with so much love. He didn't know who I was. I was a young seminarian, but this giant welcomed me. So I felt like the encounter between Ambrose and Augustine. You remember in the story that Augustine writes in the Confession,
Yes.
when Augustine went to see Ambrose in Ambrose's study, Ambrose was so transfixed reading the holy page that he didn't even know that Augustine was there. However, when he looked up, looked to Augustine with so much love. And Augustine said, I began to love him even before he said anything to me. That was the beginning of the friendship between Ambrose and Augustine. And eventually, Ambrose is the person that wrote the first official document or writing in the Catholic Church, in the world church, on friendship, the officiis. So the same thing here. I walked into that office at First Road, opposite TBS, and the whole place was filled with books. I said, wow, did he read all this? Had he already read all this? I asked him. He said, he laughed, looked at me, this small boy, and I began to love him. And I think he began to love me, this person who was inquisitive. And without wasting time, he accepted to come. And he didn't even bother us about paying for his flight or anything like that. He wanted to be with us. Then eventually I found myself, by divine providence, working at Catholic Secretariat as a special assistant to the Bishops' Conference. And here was Bishop Kukah, then Father Kukah, was there to welcome me when I arrived, showed me around, and gave me my first introduction, orientation into how to work with bishops and how to work with people, how to respect the laity, and how to carry myself, conduct my affairs with dignity, with honor, with respect. And, you know, he began then to give me the opportunity. He consciously, actively mentored me. No one knew me then. I mean, I wrote things and radio commentaries in Imo State and Enugu, but here was this man. One day he was to go on television interview with Gani Fawemi, this great Gani, and he said to me, Stan, you're going to go do this one, so you learn. I said, no, me and Gani. I mean, I was like not even up to 30 years. So he mentored me, said, now when you are speaking, you don't say, you said the bishops would say, the church would say, it's not about you, it's about the church. So you got to represent the church. And he watched every bit of it, took notes. And when I came back, he said, you've done greatly, Stan. Then he went through with me how to do the next one, and then the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And that's how I learned how to appear on television. And, you know, the other funny thing, and that's very important to see, his love for me and for people is very particular. So one Monday, I was preaching at our usual daily mass, and here was Bishop Kukah, you know, there, all of us, then Father Kukah were celebrating mass. And at the end of the mass, he started to praise me and said, wow, that was a wonderful homily Stan gave. And I think, Stan, you should wear a new shoe every day so you will preach homilies like this. Why? He noticed that I had a new shoe. That's the kind of man you're dealing with, that he even took interest in what I was wearing. And the rest, they say, is history. So that's how the friendship was cemented. I have been with him all this while in both highs and lows. I know that when he left the Catholic Secretariat, that was a very, very difficult time in terms of transition. Transitions were not easy. He had opportunities. He had offers from all over the world. But then he had to pray and determine what is the next step. And then he decided, I have to go back to school and update myself. That's the humility we are talking about for the Barnabas. He had to find, to enrich himself, to grow into deeper knowledge. And you know, the most important thing that I must say is that it was ever said to me about Bishop Kukah was by then Archbishop Okogie. So I was living with Archbishop Okogie at Holy Cross, at the chancery there. And when I was to leave to study for my studies in Rome, so Archbishop Okogie gave me a chalice. Now Cardinal Okogie gave me a chalice as a gift and said, Stan, always remember and celebrate your priesthood. And I see that you love the priesthood. This is something, and this is what Okogie said, this is something I see and admire in your friend and your boss, Father Kukah. All this noise you hear about him, the most important thing Okogie said to me about Kukah, he loves the priesthood.
Yes.
His priesthood is the most important thing to him. And he said, and I see the same thing in you, but as you're growing and becoming popular, always remember that your friend and your mentor, that he loves the priesthood. You must love the priesthood, because when you love the priesthood, you will love the church and you will love God's people. And this was why Okogie stood up for Kukah when he had the challenges at Catholic Secretariat. You know, sometimes we look at people like the Igbos say, when you look at the mouth of the king, you would think that he never really suckled the breast of the mother. He had terrible trials and tribulations from within the ranks of the church, from the nuncio and many others. But Okogie said, I fought for him because he loves the priesthood. So I will stop here for now.
In your perspective, how do you evaluate Bishop Kukah's philosophy of life, and what do you think is his driving force, and how did that influence you?
Yeah, I think that Bishop Kukah is a man who clearly understood his purpose, the purpose of his life here on earth. He clearly understood his mission in life, and he clearly understood and understands the source of that mission. He's clear-eyed about why God has chosen him. I'll give you an example. I once asked him, why is it that your books are not published abroad? He said, I decided to publish all my books in Nigeria. Nigeria is my own focus. If people outside Nigeria take interest as they have in some of my writings, that's okay. But I will focus on disseminating my ideas within Nigeria. The second is the sense of hope and courage. He's a very courageous man. He's a lion. He's a fighter. And I think that it is that sense of hope that is rooted in his faith in God, in the God of our Lord Jesus Christ, that is the propelling shaft of his life. And it is that hope that is melted in a deep spirituality of connectivity. Bishop Kukah believes that it is when people are in a room that something great can happen. And if people are not in a room, if they are not talking to each other, if they are not relating well, how can they bring hope about? So this is what I think, I would say his sense of purpose, the deep wells of that purpose and vocation he finds in God and in the Catholic priesthood, and his sense of community and the location of that, his sense of context, that context, you know, where God has put you is where God wants you to flourish. And then you must harvest every resources every asset, every gift out there. And that's why, and I think the other thing is the way he connects with people is driven by this sense of purpose that he sees himself as the finger of John. He does not think so much about himself. He's so self-deprecating. I have had instances, which I'm not going to say here, where I have criticized him, sent him notes. I don't like this. I don't agree with you. And he will come back with this simple word, thank you, Stan. I think you have a point there. That sense helps him, like to be expansive in his range of possibilities of ideas that he assimilates into his being. And then the sense of purpose helps him to navigate amidst all these ups and downs and this cacophony of our times, that he maintains a stable center. That is his relationship with God, his relationship with people, and his simplicity. He remembers always his roots, both his roots in faith, his roots, his friends, his connections to God and to the church. And so I think that that's what has inspired me about him. And like you mentioned, Father Barnabas, Father Kukah or Bishop Kukah, he is a hard worker. I remember when two of us, we wrote an essay for the tablet in when seminarian, one of his seminarians was killed in Kaduna, and that seminarian, that was a very, very low point for him, just like the killing of Deborah. So so I reached out to him, and the tablet wanted us a tablet of London. So to put something together, they asked me, I said, I want to write it with him. And he had gone to a celebration in Kafanchan and was going back by road. And I sent him that piece, a very long piece. By the time he got to Kafanchan, that was by midnight. He spent the whole night working on this, right? So by the time I woke up in the morning, I saw a finished text. So I said, how did you do it? He said, I didn't sleep. I saw this as an important mission. Many people want to be successful, but people don't put in the hard work.
Thank you, Professor Stan.
Yeah.
Bishop Kukah is celebrating his 70th birthday. By ecclesiastical order, in the next 5 years, he'll be retiring as a bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Sokoto. I am so happy with the expressive and deep insight you have about Bishop Matthew Hassan Kukah and the fraternity and friendship that you have of the kenotic spirituality, self-emptying, self-sacrificing, and self-surrendering to God and in the expression of your priesthood, and how you have expressed that you are mentored by Bishop Matthew Kukah and Cardinal Antonio Koje and so many people. And you yourself, you are a very big inspiration to many people and to myself. So what is your message for Bishop Matthew Kukah in the years ahead? And as he's opening and presenting his Kukah Center permanent site project, and he said in that program of today, he is unfolding the School of Government, where he would deal with the role of the church and civil society, the role of the church in forming conscience, in building up society and the young people in thinking about leadership, and as a selfish program, but as self-effacing program, representing the face of Christ, the face of God and the face of truth in government. This is his vision. So what do you advise should be his guiding principle as he is actually coming up with permanent structures to sustain the interface of church and politics and leadership?
Yeah, I mean, first is that it's quite admirable what Bishop Kukah is doing, and I contributed in thinking through this whole Kukah Center, when I don't even think it was his idea. It was people who have, like me and many others, who encourage him. It's not as if to say, oh, I want to build a Kukah Center. No, it is that we say, you have done so much. You have done so much that we need a repository of best practices, problem solving, especially targeted at leadership at the highest level, and then trickling down. So many years ago, I think it was in 2015, we organized a joint event with Kukah Center in Abuja, with our center here at DePaul University in Chicago, and Fordham University in New York, and the Catholic University of Innsbruck in Austria. These were representatives who were there, and the University of Notre Dame, Indiana, who participated, and the Nigerian Defense Academy and University of the ABU, Ahmadu Bello University in Zaria. So we had about 19 professors who were there in that meeting, and eventually Cardinal Onaikon joined us later. Then we went to celebrate Christmas party with these Muslims coming to celebrate Christmas party with us. And it was very beautiful. And then I said to him, you see, really what we need in Nigeria is for us to be in the same room, as Kukah always say. It's for us to be in the same room. If people cannot be in the same room, then there's no relationship. But when they're in the same room, bring people together. When we come together, as they say in the African American church here, and I think they say it in Nigeria, when we come together, something big happens. So the Kukah Center is a vision that is beyond Bishop Kukah. It's also a vision that is at the heart, I think, a culmination of what I consider his legacy. So the legacy that it is possible for the church to be an active player, not simply a reactionary agency reacting to what is happening, but actually to proactively begin to engage in policy analysis and in policy proposition. You see, I think that Aristotle's wisdom remains pertinent for our time, that knowledge precedes action. So if you ask me, one of the greatest contributions of Bishop Kukah to public discourse in Nigeria as a public intellectual, it is his profound articulation and analysis of our context, political, economic, social, religious context, helping people to understand, to interpret, because it's only when you interpret something, you understand it well, then you can evaluate it based on a profound understanding of what that thing is. And then you can make a judgment, and then ethical actions will follow. So I think that's what the center will help to do, to generate new knowledge. If we don't generate new knowledge, we cannot generate new action. We will just be revolving in this cycle. So I mean, because you're there on the ground, Father Barnabas, what do you think this Kukah Center is there a place for it in the Nigeria of today, or is it already what other universities are doing? People will say, is he reinventing the wheel?
In my understanding, Kukah Center started many years ago, and he tried to locate it and bring it to Kaduna and here in Abuja. I see it coming up as a very, very outstanding academic platform, social platform, economic platform, leadership platform, where it is going to be like a melting pot for strategic planning, strategic development, where people will come and interact and be like a new face of the NIPS the NIPS, Institute of Strategic Planning, that is in Kuru.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is a new phase for the new generation where Bishop Kukah is putting it. I just left the center, the Sheraton, where we are displaying the building plan and how it will come up. Kukah Center is a very strategic place for developing intellectuals, academic oriented business people, and in the area of theology, the influence of religion and society. I said, are we expecting that through Pan-African Catholicism, we are going to make contributions by bringing scholars around Africa and even out there in the US and Europe to come to this center to add to the richness of the program and the development of theology, religion, and the interface of religion and theology with society?
Yeah, thank you, Father Barnabas. And it is very important to commend the work that Bishop Kukah is doing and the vision, promote the vision of Kukah Center. I think that, like Bishop Kukah has always said, and I think also Pope Francis emphasizes this, there is the need for the church in Africa and the church everywhere to take active interest in politics. This is an area that has had a very complicated, the church has had a very complicated relationship with politicians. And sometimes the danger is to abandon politics or to allow things to move without any direction, without any guidance. The church is in the world as a light. The church must consciously, creatively contribute to this. This is what Pope Francis helped develop in Argentina, the theology of the people. If you look at the writings of Pope Francis, there's always the emphasis on the people of God, the people of God. But who are these people? Where are they? They are in societies that are governed by laws, by institutions, systems, and structures. And if these systems, structures, and institutions are oppressive, unjust, exploitative, and manipulative, then the message of the gospel cannot take hold because it becomes the ground, the rough ground that destroys the seed that is planted. Hence, I think the Kukah Center is projected as a place where the ground is being manured and seeds are being planted so that the gospel can find a place in society. The poverty, the suffering, the failed leadership in Nigeria are not simply something we will wish away by 9 days novena. And sometimes the church stays on this periphery of praying, spiritualizing the reality of the people. And then it becomes a pathology rather than a performance. So I think what Bishop Kukah is calling us to is active engagement with the political process, with policy analysis, policy formation, so that every Catholic in Nigeria, every Christian, indeed every Nigerian should become conscious, politically conscious, well informed about who is causing the problems for us and why we need to stop them from causing the problem. And this is a problem that goes beyond, I think that's what Bishop Kukah is teaching us. It goes beyond being a Christian and being a Muslim or being a North or being a South, because every local government area in Nigeria, if you go, like our people say, if you put hand in the nyash of somebody, you must always bring some dirt. So if we begin to look at some of these institutions, even at the local level, even traditional rulers, native rulers, Sharia court judges, some of these people are really deep into corruption. So it is to clean the house, and cleaning the house will require new forms of education. And that's why I think the Kukah Center needs our support. not only in Nigeria, but also, like you said, Father Barnabas, for us to get this Pan-African involvement into it, bring scholars from all over Africa to come to this center to bring their own knowledge, like from Kenya, what are they gaining from the current political process? From Ghana, from Cote d'Ivoire, what are they gaining from the crisis that engulfed their nation in 2008? And from South Africa, what are they gaining from the fact that, a young man emerges, the freedom fighters now out of ANC, and they're making impact. And from Zambia, where the opposition took over power last year, or in Tanzania, where a woman is doing a good job. So I think we need to, sometimes as Nigerians, we need also to think beyond Nigeria, because people say, oh, well, you're in America or you're in Canada. Nigeria is different. But then other African countries, I just came back from Uganda, Father Barnabas, you were there in Kenya, you remember? And the light was, they had light. It's not every hour they're taking light. And there's no running water. I traveled from Kampala to northern Uganda to the border of South Sudan, and the road was good. And this is not, you're not talking about London or Rome or Paris. So there is a problem that Nigerians must confront, and that's failed leadership. And I think that's what the Kukah Center will help to address this failed leadership, not only from the Catholic position, but interdisciplinary, even transdisciplinary. So thank you, Father Barnabas, for participating in this. And we want to conclude. What is your birthday wish for Bishop Kukah? Yeah, I think we've lost Father Barnabas. So we want to conclude by praying the good Lord to bless Bishop Kukah and continue to give him wisdom, continue to enrich his life with health of mind and body, and provide for his needs, and strengthen his agency, and give him courage. And always, like Cardinal Okoje said many years, that Kukah loves the priesthood, so that this love for the priesthood, which is actually the love for our Lord Jesus Christ, will continue to be the animating fire for your life, Bishop Kukah. And through that love for the Eucharist that is at the center of the Catholic priesthood, you will continue to love God's people, because we are all one. And God's people, not just Christians, but Muslims, not just people from Southern Kaduna, but everyone, as you have always done. That's how Jesus wants us to continue to serve, so that the world, all God's people, may experience abundant life. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bishop Kukah. Happy birthday to you.